Anyways, let me tell you guys about our brand new hero who doesn't clap trees. Instead, he's a monster that claps anything and everything. So for most people, they pass time by watching anime or playing video games. However, this bro has taken Master Uwe's saying of, if there's a hole, there's always a goal, literally. Even right now, our anime bro is currently playing the game of rice cake smashing with a girl named Yuna, but it turns out she ain't no ordinary girl. Nevertheless, after destroying the living daylights out of Yuna, he got her to cook up a feast just for him because apparently, this is what a true chat is like. As such, after using up a lot of energy just moments before, our hero picks up a spoon and starts cosplaying his favorite mukbang YouTuber, leaving the delicious food no chance to defend themselves. Later, after easily devouring the entire feast by himself, he turns back to find Yuna and whispers if she would like to play Starfield together as he's ready for round 2 of Space Rice Cake Smashing. And so the two started playing Starfield together, where our boy tries his hardest to make sure his controller doesn't randomly explode. But then he gets a message from someone's mom. Clearly, the F meant they were on legendary difficulty, and the 37 meant bro's already 37 days in for his play time. So he begins to look a little bit worried. Nonetheless, we fast forward to the next day where we learn bro got to play Space Rice Cake Smashing with 2 different difficulties last night. So now he's up early to make sure he can do the right thing, which is hitting the gym hard as a natty. But then out of nowhere, the Sussy Nation attacks as bro randomly shows up destroying a rice bag looking like he's ready to be All Might. Now, the even weirder part about all of this, and not including the part where he's literally clapping rice, is actually the fact that he named it Elizabeth. Unfortunately for our boy, the rice bag isn't going to transform into Elizabeth from the 7 deadly sins, as the only thing his banana tree plantation is making contact with is some feathers. Nevertheless, it's further revealed that Mr. Rice Bag Lover has actually breached the power level of over 9,000, as he's apparently practiced his gaming on pillows as well for almost 10,000 tries. So I guess you could say he's a master gamer with no shame at all. So maybe that's why he's such a Chad, and it's not because of the sword he's been carrying around. Anyways, as bro attempts game number 10,001, disaster strikes as his rice bag looking pillow ends up finally breaking, all due to how rough the past activities were. So maybe it was actually Elizabeth trying to escape. At this point, I thought bro was going to start weeping, but I was wrong, since he starts talking to the rice as if he thought the rice itself reached the climax of a mountain. Suddenly, enough was enough for Elizabeth as she calls in the help of Rice-kun since Truck-kun was busy elsewhere. So our boy ends up slipping not on a piece of soap, but actually on some very small rice grains. It was then, at this very moment, bro knew to never ever disrespect your rice again, but it was too late as he takes a hard fall straight to the ground. However, our boy actually somehow wakes up by himself after falling over, seemingly totally fine, although there's some kind of light pouring out from behind him. After taking a moment to investigate further, our boy realizes that some kind of portal has appeared, and you only ever see those in your favorite anime. Nevertheless, you guys already know the drill. When an anime portal shows up, you clearly have to check it out, so bro ends up finding an alert telling him that it's a gateway to another world, and if he enters, he can never come back. Bro then starts hearing a voice repeating the alert out loud, only for him to realize that it sounds exactly like him, or so he thought. Moments later, the turntables turn, as bro decides to ignore what's in front of him as he's suddenly having the urge to check Tinder, as he forgot to destroy real targets today. He then takes a deep breath of relief as he realizes he's still on Earth, and he's got a lot of matches to tend to, so everything is still normal like before. However, after closing the app, he sees a message from Yuna eerily telling him to make sure to not go home no matter what, and he needs to hide as soon as possible or else he will miss Drake's concert. Suddenly, as he finishes reading the message, a man yells out his name from his front door, so we finally learn that our boy is named Taeyang. With Taeyang not answering, the mysterious man at his front door starts banging on it and yells even louder, but Taeyang is probably thinking the dude is mistaking him for the K-pop superstar from Big Bang. Eventually, our boy relents and decides to check it out, but as soon as he's about to open the door, an axe cleanly makes it through, almost giving our boy a brand new bowl cut. At the same time, a man looking like he's the older Avatar pops up looking absolutely furious, but he makes it clear quickly that he's actually Yuna's husband and he's now found out about him. Personally, I think the Avatar is actually the true Chad, as bro ain't taking no crap from anyone and he's ready to send those who oppose him to the afterlife using some blood-bending powers. So props to the old man. Oh, and by the way, bro doesn't even care that he's chasing down a dude that has no armor on, so you can tell he's a man of his word no matter what. Anyways, now that Taeyang has been found out for playing too much space rice cakes on other people's saves, he runs to find the portal as he realizes there's only one way out. Time then slowly ticks down as the barricades he put behind him slowly get cut through with the Avatar's skills, so it's only a matter of seconds until he either jumps through the portal or faces demise. Luckily for our boy, though, the Avatar takes a quick breather and stops to angrily ask how many times Taeyang has destroyed the rice cake of Yuna. But me personally, I wouldn't ask. Now, one funny tidbit that I forgot about is the fact that Bro also is the boyfriend of the Avatar's daughter, so poor Taeyang starts trying to weasel himself out of everything by using the po-po excuse. However, Taeyang ends up digging himself an even bigger hole as the Avatar gets even more mad, so he starts channeling some airbending skills to scare off our boy. Seconds later, Taeyang feels an intense shockwave only for him to realize that his last defense is about to fall, and it will only take one more attack before the Avatar is fully through. At this very moment, he realizes there's actually two different options. He could either enter the portal and see what happens in another dimension, or take one last stand and perish while exploding inside the rice bag of Elizabeth. Clearly, it's a really hard decision for our boy, since we all know Bro is the biggest sussy baka ever. And so Taeyang decides he will take his dignity with him to explore Elizabeth one more time. But the sussy baka starts feeling some kind of intervention from the magical portal. Simultaneously, the last door gives way, where Mr. The Rock Avatar is seen being fueled by some fire-bending powers, as Bro now looks like he's the Reaper of Souls. The Reaper of Souls then stalls for a second and begins to stare intently at our Bro, where he says Taeyang must shove his banana tree right now as he needs to chop it off. However, the mighty turntables turn again just like the mighty ducks, so Taeyang ends up facing off against the Avatar. So then the mad lad actually did the unthinkable, as Taeyang went up to him only to tell him how his wife and daughter had the best Starfield review of all time, and it was so tight and rad. Then, just as I thought Bro found a way out on Earth, Taeyang ends up being the biggest coward ever and instantly jumps into the portal after talking about the Avatar's wife and daughter. Our Bro then finds himself teleported to a massive castle, still with no armor, but as he continues to wander around, he ends up hearing what sounded like a bunch of guards. Taeyang is then quick to flee as he doesn't know if he traveled back in time or if this is just another world in another dimension. After successfully making it out of the corridor, the guards realize that a torch got put out, so they start discussing whether or not the torch ran out of mana, where it's revealed that magic may exist in the world. Nonetheless, as Taeyang eavesdrops on the guards, he suddenly hears something within the room and notices someone toss and turn in front of him at a nearby bed. Unsure of what to do, Bro decides to do nothing and continues to eavesdrop, only to listen in on the guards totally gush about someone named Verdia sleeping. After putting 1 and 1 together to equal 3, Taeyang begins to panic as he thinks Verdia is the man the guards were blushing about. So now Taeyang's worst nightmare has come true, as Bro starts to think he got teleported to a world where no women exist, causing his heart to instantly stop. Luckily for him though, his heart does a full reboot as he ends up smelling a scent he's always used to being around, which just happens to be a woman. Now that our boy has figured out that women do exist in this world, he decides to investigate further as he loves watching Detective Pikachu. Upon finishing his inspection, his banana tree plantation reverts back to its king size as he finds a beautiful girl who he promptly assumes is Verdia. Taeyang then decides to inspect Verdia even more to make sure she's not hiding any swords where you least expect it, only for him to marvel at the sight of Verdia being a prime version of herself. As such, our boy starts to look super hungry as he can't believe the first girl he ran into is actually an S-tier woman that would even give his own little rookie a challenge. However, Taeyang remembers that there's still another dude within the room, so he wonders why the two are using separate beds if he's the king. Regardless, Taeyang ventures forth closer to Verdia, as he can't help himself even if he knows this will probably send him 6 feet under once the king wakes up. Now taking the prime opportunity to seize the prime gates of Verdia in front of him, he evolves into his Frenchman self and gets ready to eat up the entire thing in front of him. And so our bro actually starts seating a sleeping Verdia with a battering ram her gates have never experienced before, but Taeyang gets sad as he can't believe Verdia has not awoken with his entry. Eventually, Bro finds himself at 90% power and neither Verdia or the king woke up, but Verdia was instinctively following his attacks. An hour later, Verdia's computer finally wakes up from sleep mode, where she asks why her husband has been so good today. Mere moments later, Verdia finally wakes up, but she seems to love what's going on. So she warns Taeyang to pause, since if he gets found out, it's not only his tree that will get chopped. But just as you probably guessed, Taeyang was unable to stop the siege, and he kept going till the morning. And somehow the king never woke up, so Bro must have been a pretty deep sleeper. Unfortunately, the two stuck in the endless battle of destroying gates get interrupted as glass suddenly falls to the ground and splatters like Splatoon 2. It's then revealed that a maid has appeared to drop off the usual royal breakfast, but this time she accidentally saw the royal rice cake smashing. So now our boy knows he's totally screwed in more ways than one, but at least he's going to go out in a bang in a brand new world. The story continues with Taeyang freezing outright as he doesn't know what to do after getting caught, and his banana tree is still stuck inside the very slippery gates of Verdia. But of course, as expected from a literal rice bag destroyer, he decided to continue on rice cake destroying as Bro is literally the embodiment of the ultimate menace to anime society. As such, Verdia's eyes go crazy as he kept putting $1 deep into her claw machine over and over, trying to make sure he scratched the prized spot of Verdia in front of the maid. Suddenly, with all the commotion boiling over due to the surprise gank of the servant, the bearded king from earlier wakes up and shouts Verdia's name, whilst absolutely shocked at the scene in front of him. Now the crazy part about all of this is that Taeyang continued to put on a show in this new world, while Sussy Verdia was enjoying every Sussy Nation attack. Meanwhile, the bearded man started to activate rock hard. Luckily for the king though, he's able to enact justice upon this menace as our boy gets dragged out by some royal guards while he was still fully invisible in terms of his armor. Shortly after, he gets chained to the wall, deservedly so, for totally decimating the royal throne through the effective use of his extra-large spicy chicken nuggets. Mere seconds after getting totally locked into place, it turns out Taeyang was knocked out cold by the Supreme Salt Pappy left hook, but they wake him up with ice-cold water. Upon wakening up, he continually got bombarded by the waterbenders as the king stood watch, since this world took the special United States of America approach in interrogation. Eventually, our boy gives in and proceeds to follow the king's demands as he reveals his name as Taeyang Jum, the biggest sussy baka anyone will ever meet. Now that the king has learned his name, he takes it upon himself to ask Taeyang why would he ever want to disgrace someone in sacred marriage. But instead of Taeyang taking the smart approach of trying to simmer down in such a dire circumstance, he ends up grinning and replies by claiming that it's because he loves the dump trucks and assets of older targets. Now, to be honest, I do commend his ability of doubling down when his life is on the line, so Bro is probably a KFC enjoyer as he loves them doubled downs with extra bacon and cheese. Regardless, with Taeyang's very Chad display of ultimate confidence, the king menacingly stares into our boy's soul, where he then gives Taeyang a second chance to say something before being condemned to the afterlife. But our boy, busy wanting to keep up his mega sussy baker reputation, ends up quadrupling down on his stance by alerting the king that his wife's fresh papayas were more incredible than the Incredible Hulk. Suddenly, the king orders everyone within the room to vacate upon hearing our boy's response. Initially, I thought he was going to let a massive fart rip, but the sussy turntables turned. With everyone leaving the king alone with Taeyang behind closed doors, the king ended up asking him in secret if Bro came from that mysterious world. Without further elaborating on what the king meant by that mysterious world, Taeyang finally gets sent back to reality as he can't believe that this old man might have realized he's arrived from another world. While busy trying to piece things together, Taeyang's mind gets interrupted by the sussiest question he's ever heard from another man as the king straight up asks him how large his banana tree plantation is. Nonetheless, he answers the question with full force by keeping up his Chad facade as our boy tells the king to bring along Verdia if he wants to see his full mature and grown tree. Somehow, his replies seemingly end up succeeding, but the king makes his eyes disappear, so we all already know things are about to get serious. The old man then reveals that Taeyang isn't the only one that's arrived in this world from another dimension. In fact, so many has come and gone over time, causing them to place a rule that anyone that comes to this world automatically becomes a servant. However, it's Taeyang's lucky day as Bro gets stun-locked after learning that the king will let him go if he agrees to become a sussy trainer. To spice up the offer a little bit more, the king will allow him to be an ordinary person in this world, and Bro will even become Verdia's personal sus trainer. As such, Taeyang finally does something smart and agrees to become an official trainer in this world, but to clear, we ain't talking about lifting weights, since we are talking about the best cardio ever. Anyways, with the guards still missing from the room, the king ends up releasing our boy, where he also reveals to Taeyang that his name is Sir Bettino, and from now on, he needs to train the women within his domain expansion. With Sir Bettino now absolutely flustered, he also tells Taeyang to keep everything a secret. Fast forward the next day, we find out that Taeyang is now experiencing and receiving the full noble experience as Bro now has a personal room within the massive castle. He even has his own personal maids that will do anything he wishes, and they even help him put on his clothes while his bean burrito is freely swinging left and right in front of them. Our boy then activates his passive skill of Rock Wrecker, but before he's able to use Hyper Beam on one of the maids, Sir Bettino arrives just in time to save them as he asks if Taeyang is ready for work. Bro then turns around looking all spiffy with his brand new suit, but this savage has learned some noble etiquette, so he bows down and starts talking to Sir Bettino like a true Englishman from the royal family. But before Sir Bettino heads out to show Taeyang his brand new workplace, he ends up giving him a box full of rock-hard wrappers, whilst also informing Taeyang that he must always be using the wrappers. Things then take a quick rapid turn upon Taeyang opening the box as he finds out there's 16 of them, but Surbatino interrupts him by alerting him that his first test as a trainer is to make sure he fills up all 16 of them before the end of the day. Truth be told, Taeyang doesn't look worried after learning of his first task, so you might as well call him the Pirate King if he's able to unload his cannon 16 times within a 24-hour period with just one target. Meanwhile, as Taeyang does some crazy monologuing to himself, Surbatino warns him that if he fails the task, then he's going to meet someone they call Mr. Chopper, and that dude never misses. Regardless, with his sussy heart equipped with one hand and the box of wrappers held by the other hand, our boy makes his triumphant entry back into Verdia's world, while the old man gets flustered just at the thought of Verdia tasting the vanilla ice cream of someone else. So as our boy makes his way through the hallways laced with gold and expensive jewelry, he gets greeted by some guards who look eager to meet him. After finally being able to shake this legend's hand, they were quick to beg Taeyang about his endeavors with Verdia through the sussy dimension, wanting extreme detail about how her boat works and how hard his water waves rocked her world. Initially, Bro refused to spill the beans about his night, but the guards were absolute diehard fans of cultured anime recaps, so they ended up paying him for some details. So after being paid off by them, Taeyang relentlessly explained every detail of his time with Verdia, causing all the guards to fall to their knees as they trembled for being mega simps. Then, after the guards got their every penny worth of learning how Verdia got destroyed, they end up showing Taeyang where the queen is right now, as it's time for his duty. As such, Taeyang quickly makes his way to his prized target, but on his way, he sees a girl with fresh plump rice cakes out of this world. Of course, by now, we all know Bro wouldn't walk by something like that without doing anything, so as he passes by, he gives her a 5-finger alert and walks on his way. Eventually, our boy makes it towards the training area where Verdia is busy watching the training going on, but Taeyang hesitates for the first time today. After taking a moment to watch Verdia watching the training, Bro's eyes disappear, so if we scroll down even more, you'll notice how Bro already activated Rock Slide underneath his pants due to him fantasizing about the future. Eventually, Taeyang makes his move looking like the Jaw Titan as he can't control the Decepticons wanting to roll out within his plate legs. However, just as Bro was about to close the gap between him and the best Sussy Hashira and Mitsuri, he gets stopped in his tracks as a sword randomly appeared out of nowhere. Taeyang then takes a quick peek at the surprise assailant, only for him to get wowed and awestruck, due to the swordsman before him containing crazy American super-sized McDonald's-sized proportions. Luckily for our boy, though, Queen Verdia quickly comes to the rescue as she reveals that the new girl's name is Fiona. But good thing Fiona ain't looking like the one from Shrek. However, Fiona is a spicy one as she refuses to drop her sword, even though Taeyang has already informed her that he's here due to Surbatino's request. As such, Fiona claps back by telling our boy that he looks too sussy to be allowed near Queen Verdia, and she too has Surbatino's request of protecting her. So since Fiona has no intentions of letting him go anytime soon, Bro ends up deciding that time is of the essence by activating the yellow flash speed technique. And within a blink of Fiona's eyes, she finds herself landing straight on her bed onkadonks, and with her sword now in the opponent's hand, Taeyang tells her checkmate as he's Grandmaster in chess. It's then revealed that the only reason Taeyang was able to do such a crazy ninja maneuver is because he learned best from sneaking around with the Kendo Master's wife all night long. Regardless, with Fiona now defeated and laying deactivated on the ground, our boy takes a moment to stare at her as he makes a remark about how this girl kinda be looking cute though. In the end, he pulls off a righteous yet mighty card by handing Fiona back her sword, even though I thought Bro was about to cut up her armor in front of everyone. Nevertheless, Fiona shamelessly grabs her sword, causing her to be totally flustered, so she walks away in utter defeat, while squeezing fresh glazed buns you can hear clapping together from miles away. With Fiona now out of the picture, our boy quickly makes his way to the Queen, where he blocks her sunlight whilst ordering her to come with him as Bro claims that the deed won't take long. And so Verdia agrees and tags along without any opposition, where we find out that Taeyang's choice of Sussy Battle Arena is back inside the royal castle. Now with both of them alone in the designated training area, Taeyang ushers a new world decree whereby Verdia must use the invisible clothing potions as soon as possible. Mere seconds later, she agrees to abide by Taeyang's new decree and proceeds to equip the invisible clothes they got from their co-op Minecraft world. After successfully getting Verdia to get ready for the training session, our boy ends up cosplaying Orochimaru from Naruto, looking like he's finally got the key to immortality. Instead, he's just a sussy baka. Anyways, to get the show on the road on our boy's end, Taeyang whips out his attack helicopter, as it's time for some more freedom into the world of Verdia. Then, with his power now in full display in front of her, he commands Verdia to take a rock wrapper from the box beside her and to place it on his protein sword. Of course, Verdia does everything gracefully and follows our boy's commands, where she's then sent to the sussy dimension as Taeyang ended up destroying the front gates of City Verdia over and over. Hours then pass by as the early morning transforms into the evening, where Taeyang ends up getting sad as he realizes they are out of rock rappers as Bro used too much rock blasting skills today. As such, they decide to keep on going while violating the rules of the code of being the trainer without a rapper, but some knocks appear at the same time. It's then revealed that the knocks on the door is coming from Surbatino himself as he wants to check in on their progress, but both culprits inside know they are in deep trouble if the king opens the door. The two then refuse to answer as Verdia starts freaking out due to Surbatino's knocks getting louder and faster like Kanye, but Taeyang continues on rice cake smashing. Surbatino then stops knocking as he starts hearing elephant noises coming from the room, so Bro starts activating his tune due to him liking what he's hearing. As such, Surbatino decides to leave him alone as he's liking what he's hearing, but before he leaves the premises, he yells at the two and makes sure the rock is totally wrapped.